Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden. May the 4th be with you. Today, we're going to work on a mobile app, is the plan. It's going to be a hybrid mobile app. We're going to use this thing called Capacitor, which comes from the same people that brought you Ionic. And we're going to use this thing called Konsta UI, which is built on top of Tailwind, but it gives you cool little components that look native. And we're going to use that with Svelte, so Konsta UI Svelte. That's the plan. There's a lot of other ways you could build this, but I'm not going to talk about them because that would waste time. So this is what we're going to do. Welcome in, everybody. Glad to see you. Yeah, and so I still don't know what I'm going to do with my personal Twitch channel. But yeah, this is my personal channel, W3CJ. This is where I've been doing IRL streams. I did an IRL stream yesterday where I was doing some geocaching. I've bounced back and forth. I've contemplated why would I stream on a separate channel when I've already built a following over here on Coding Garden? But I don't know. I don't know because I've done a couple of IRL streams here on the Coding Garden channel too. Even if you look at like recent videos. Yeah. So I did the one with Ched. The one with Ched. Didn't I do the one with Ched? Yeah, and there's also like Red Rocks in the other one. But for now, I'm gonna be streaming over my IRL streaming over on this channel just because there's other stuff happening on this channel that I don't want to mix it up. But one of the things that I want to build is a chat app that is resilient, because right now I'm using IRL chat, which is an app for Android, and it's fine, but it disconnects often. Like if the network conditions are bad, and then I miss a bunch of chat messages. And I know there are alternatives, but there are other things I want to do in the app as well, like do like real-time location tracking so I can show like a little mini map as an overlay. So we're just starting here. This is going to be the first thing we're going to build, is basically a Twitch chat app that if I disconnect from the network, when I reconnect, it'll show me all of the messages that I missed, which is going to require a backend. And for that, we're going to use Feathers. And also with you, Pablo. Yeah, it'll be on YouTube, but I will say this is not a tutorial. I'm gonna just this will be my first time using Capacitor alone. I've used it with Ionic before, and this will be my first time using Konsta UI. So I'm just gonna build the thing. Honestly, I might even talk less than usual because I just want to get it done. Honestly, building things on stream is hard just because I explain everything and people ask a lot of questions and I do my best to answer them. But today we're just gonna build. We're just gonna build. Like pair coding? I don't have the time, Alka. I just gotta fly through this. Is that what you're asking? Maybe some other time. I just like I want a working prototype by the end of like within 3 hours. I want a working prototype. I want an app running on a phone that is receiving Twitch messages from a custom backend, and that's the plan. That's the plan. Yeah, today is May the 4th, which is why I am dressed like a Sith, and I have a little lightsaber right here. But let's say hi to everybody. If you want me to say hello to you, you can say hi, hello, hey, yo, cheers, greetings, highest up, what's up, morning, afternoon, evening, howdy, good day, Coding High of Ohio. This is it. We are gonna say hi. We are gonna say hi. Also, check out my moving background. We're gonna say hi, and then we're gonna basically speed code this thing. All right. And what's up, Azure Bow? Welcome in. Hello, Farshid. Glad to see you. Yeah, this is an unannounced stream too. What's up, Stas and America 2050? Hello, Jan and Ched and Limotes and Distant Sense and Pablo and SBT Jin. What's it, Itzy? And it's by Therial and Alka and Saint Lolek and Chicom Gaming and Teddier and Urkudent and Cute Pony and Tropic Hana. Welcome in, everyone. Glad to see you. Hey, thanks for that focus mode, Ched. All right, we'll just do focus mode, and we'll get right into it. I will give you like a little bit of a preamble. There's a lot of different ways to build a mobile app. First of all, you could just do it natively. That is, use, if you're building for iOS, then you would need to use Xcode and write with Swift. If you're building for Android, then you would need to use Android Studio, and you'd write it potentially in Kotlin or Java. But those are native apps. And then there's something like React Native, which lets you write React code that actually runs natively on a device. It like gets rendered to a canvas. It's a whole thing. There's also native script, um, which supports other frameworks, not just React. And this works in a similar way to React Native. But then there's this other thing, which is hybrid mobile, which is different from React Native and NativeScript. And essentially, you build a mobile app that just has a web view that's hosted inside of the app. And then you just build a web app. Everything you know about web apps works, but if you use something like Capacitor, they have these native plugins. So for instance, if we want to get native location, like using the native device, not using like the web APIs, the actual like geolocation of the device, this plugin from Capacitor lets us do that. And in our codes, we do this, get current position. And that actually talks to the native APIs to get that. So the main difference between like something like this and Flutter is Flutter is not web technology. So Flutter is built with a language called Dart. They have their own SDK and their whole own system of doing it. The end result is a cross-platform application. I think that's the main similarity between all of these solutions is you can build one app that runs on multiple types of devices. But Flutter is not web tech. Flutter is like the Dart language, which you can then compile it to. Yeah, and may the 4th be with you. Heck, welcome in. PWAs can do a lot, but I want a mobile app, and this is all I'm gonna say about it because we're just gonna get right into it. So let's install and set up Capacitor. So if you look at the Capacitor docs, they have like environment setup. I actually went through and installed Android Studio earlier today because I'm actually just gonna be targeting Android. I'm not even gonna be targeting iOS because I use Android. And I'm building this app for me. Maybe if it works well enough, I'll make it for other people later, but it never goes that way because I just keep hacking on the thing. But this is for me. This is my app. I get to do what I want. This is the command we need to run. Okay, I've got this directory. We're going to run this command right here. Let's see what happens. What is the name of my app? I'm going to call it IRL control. What directory should be used for your app? Like that, maybe? Yeah, so this is super interesting. You have to come up with like a unique bundle ID. Yeah, and so that's a good thing to point out, American 2050. Capacitor gives you all of the native plugins. And it also will, this app that it's about to generate for us is going to give us just like a shell, like it'll give us an Android app that is just has a web view inside of it. But then inside of that web view is where we get to do whatever we want. And in this case, we're going to set up a Svelte app with Konsta UI after we get it going. All right, I can do like com.codinggarden.irl control. Ready to go. Okay, so we have the app directory now. We can install dependencies. Yeah. So and the thing is, yeah, like I've used Ionic in the past. It was probably like 3 years ago at this point. Ionic has probably gotten better since then, but I did not like it at all. Mainly because they have components and they support. Let's see a button, and I think they show you. So it says it supports Angular, JavaScript, Vue, React. When I was using it, I did it with React, but all of the components were actually web components, and then they just made them work with other frameworks. It was really clunky just because it was actually web components under the hood. I don't know if it's still the same thing, but it left a bad taste in my mouth, which is why I'm not going to use Ionic components. Because at the end of the day, the native features that I want access to, I'll get through Capacitor. All right, we've got an app. We've initted it. Now we can install Capacitor Android because that's what we're going to target. And Trash Puppy, welcome in. Thank you for the raid. You're just in time. We're setting up an app, a mobile app right now. It worked. Yeah, thanks for the raid. Glad to see you. So we're setting up a hybrid mobile app with Capacitor. So we just generated the app. We just added Capacitor as a dependency. And then if we run this command, I think it's going to set up like an Android project, because that's one of the things about like doing a hybrid mobile thing. You're going to have a code base, which is just web code, like your web app. And then when I believe when I run this command, it's actually going to generate an Android project that basically loads the web app inside of the Android app. Do not share anonymous usage data. All right, what just happened? Okay. Adding native Android project. Sync could not run. Missing disk directory. Cool. So, yeah, so you can see before I didn't have the Android directory, but just now it generated that Android directory. So if we open up VS Code in here, it literally generated an Android project. Like this is like a native Android project that you would open with like Android Studio. But inside of here, there's some code that basically just like loads a web view. Really, we don't even have to look at the native code. Let's figure out what command we need to run to launch this thing. And let's also see what other stuff's there. And see you later, Trash Puppy. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for bringing all your friends over. Let's do a thing. Oh, it's using Vite. That's cool. That's cool. It's using Vite. All right, let's just try starting the app. Look at that. We got a capacitor app. Cool. And I guess if we look at the code, yeah, it's just a standalone little app, right? We've got an index here. I guess it's using some web components. And then it's got some codes here. So I think this is actually where we're going to set up our Svelte app. And it has all of the assets and everything else. So I have the emulator. Let's actually get that going next. So basically, this is the app running in a web browser, but we want to see it running inside of on an Android phone or in an emulator. Okay, so we did these two things. Now, if we run this command, it's going to open Android Studio, I guess. It is. Trust the project. I think you're gonna miss, Chet. Yeah, Mac can do iOS too, and so this thing is gonna load up. It's syncing Gradle right now. And then once it's going, we can run this, and it'll run it within Android. All right. Gradle sync failed? What? What am I looking at? Did not read. Problem occurred evaluating settings Android. Well, this is a great start. Let's see what happens if we try to run this command in npx cap run Android. Because before it was just open Android. Okay. Could not find the web assets directory. So I think that means we need to run build first. And then it does a sync. No suitable API installation found. Use SDK info to reveal missing packages. So right now I think I have SDK 33, or something like that. Not 33. It's I'm set up for Android 13. There's a particle on my blue screen. Where? I don't see it. So Capacitor is hybrid mobile. So your app is running inside of a web view, which means everything you know about web development will work inside of this app. React Native compiles to native. It's not running in a web view, which means there are very specific things you have to do in React Native. So that's why I want to use something like Capacitor versus React Native. All right, if I run this command with info like this. And the error that I'm getting is unsuitable API installation. Well, that's the exact error message that it just gave me. Let's see. It's possible that it's set to, yeah. Okay, so it's SDK version 33, and then I just need to make sure that we have that installed. There's an SDK manager somewhere. Let's search how to find the SDK manager. I just missed it. Which menu is it under? Window? Tools? Tools, there it is. Okay. We have 33 tiramisu, and our settings say 33. Tiramisu. Actually, I had no idea that Android 13 was called Tiramisu. Okay, so we have it installed. I just don't know what do I pass this SDK info. It says use -- SDK info, but it didn't give me any SDK info. It's not IntelliJ, it is Android Studio, which I think was like based off of Eclipse or like forked from Eclipse or something like that. I could be wrong about that. Okay. Well, we got to get past this before we can move any further. Anyone have any ideas? Where do I run the -- SDK info? Because I put it on the end here and it didn't tell me anything extra. Install the command line tools for 33. SDK platforms, SDK tools. It's made by JetBrains? Okay, so okay. It's not what I just said then. Third from the top. Android SDK command line tools. Here we go. Thank you. Well, this says minimum SDK version is 22, but we have 33 installed. All right, now that we have that, will it work? No. NDK? What is NDK? I have no idea. This is my I don't know. I don't know if we actually need this. But like I said, they're telling me to do -- SDK info, and that's not helping. I mean, let's try different combinations of this. Like, let's try putting it before before Android. Nope. It's true. There's an error over here, so I don't know if that could be a problem occurred evaluating settings Android. Did not read script. It doesn't exist. Capacitor settings Gradle. You could, yeah, I'll figure it out. All right, let's actually, since we did install all that stuff, let's exit Android Studio and then reopen it. See if that changes anything. And if it doesn't, then we'll fix this Gradle error that we're getting in Android Studio, because I assume that's please don't, I don't need the tip of the day. I assume that's why potentially things are going wrong over here. Yeah, I'm using Capacitor because I want a hybrid mobile app. Increasing the maximum heap size. I mean, I kind of want to do that. I don't want it to restart again, though. Let's see if we just click the play button here. See what happens. And Razorson, thank you for the resub. Cookies should work in the web view, yeah. But if we want to do like an OAuth flow, we might have to do something special, like have like an app intent so that it opens a browser window and then the login flow redirects to the app itself. It might be because I didn't start the emulator, but I do think, yeah, so this is working now. This is great. Let's pop this out. We got ourselves a little Android emulator over here. Oh. Go home. Go back. What's the app? It's not even on the menu. What if I rerun it? It'll relaunch it? There we go. There's a glitch. Oh, is it this? Are you talking about that little glitch right there? All right, let me fix it. Well, I can't see it anymore. This demo shows how to install capacitor plugins. Take a photo. I mean, in the D of... Okay, I'll try to fix it then. Well, no, I can't point as easily. There. Okay, it's working. But what I want to do is I want to run it on a physical device. I actually have no idea if or how I'll be able to share the screen, but I have an Android device and I want to run it on there. So let's see what happens there. Yeah, I'll do my best to not leak my location. I mean, location technically is turned off. It should be anyways. Let's make sure. So, I guess I probably don't want to use a physical device, just because I don't know if there's a built-in way to like mirror the screen. We'll not do that for now. But the app is running, which is great. Can I pop this out? Okay, we've got an app. Okay, the app is running, which is good. Now, I want to get Svelte going, and then also Konsta UI. That's what I want to get going now. So the other thing is I do believe there's a way to launch the app, but point it at the dev server, so that way we can do like real-time editing and it'll auto refresh. Yeah, we have an app running. That's all for today. All right. Development workflow. Syncing your web code. Testing your app. Open your native IDE. Yeah. And George, thank you for the 27 months. Today is May the 4th, so it's Star Wars Day, basically. So now I just copy paste the code and we're good. I remember there was like there was a command that would actually run or sync the app with the dev server. Because right now, basically what happens is whenever it launches the emulator, it actually just does a copy of the dist folder. But we don't want that. We want to point it at like the dev server, so that way when I change the stuff, it instantly updates. Sync? Run? Because otherwise we just have to like debug in the web browser, which I guess is fine. Because we're not using any native features yet. Yeah, this is what I want. Thank you, Rugged Bear. The Ionic CLI includes a complete live reload experience automating all of the steps that are detailed manually below. Or performs an Ionic build, copies the web assets. Ooh. I think I'll just do this instead of the CLI, because look, check it out. So in the capacitor config, we set up a server section here. And it's going to be our dev server. Whatever this, what is this IP address? The IP of this computer on my local network is this. And then just the port that it's running the app on is 3000. Like that. So like right now with it running in the web browser, if I make any edits, hello Twitch chat. So that auto refreshes great. But now with this server entry, I think when we do a copy, it actually will link to it. So we'll do this. Okay. And then it's already open. And now if we run it, I think it's going to use the live server. Let's test it. Web page not available. Connection refused. Well, actually, so that just means we need to start Vite and expose it on the host. Yes, we need to start it like this. So if we do npm start, honestly, I'm just gonna update my my package.json because I basically want to run it that way every time. So start with host like that. Right, now that it's starting, refresh. Refresh. Yes, this is it. Okay, so now I've got a full live reload dev experience. So basically, this is a web view running inside of Android that literally just has loaded this HTML here. And so I can just replace everything with what? Save it. Nice. Nice. So at this point, because this is Vite, we can just start doing what do you call it? Svelte things. We're gonna use Svelte. So like in the Vite config, we'll need to add the Svelte plugin to just get it going, and we should be good to go. Ionic PWA elements. Yeah, I don't want any of that. All right, so we've got an app. We've got live reload. Now let's get Konsta UI set up. So Konsta UI is a component library built on top of Tailwind that looks mobile. So, for example, they have like the tab bar like this, and so you can get a nice looking native tab bar. But these are just components. So I do love Vue, but we've been using a Svelte a lot lately, so we're gonna jump into Const UI with Svelte. Okay, so let's install it. May the fourth be with you. Mixed. We need a Tailwind config. In your Tailwind config file. Okay, so we need to install Tailwind first. Let's take a step back. We need installation. Yeah, friendship. I mean, I still really like Vue, and it's kind of a shame that it didn't get popular. Okay, so now we need all this stuff. I mean, Vue is technically popular, but the thing is, Vue has been doing all the things that everyone's like excited about these days. Like signals, Vue has been doing signals for years. They just didn't call it signals. And then also like optimistic UI updates and compiler compiled template optimization. Vue has been doing that for years, but nobody. I think it's like a marketing problem. But that's okay. That's okay. Cool. So now we have ourselves a Tailwind config. Oh, it's already there. Man, okay. Apparently it was already set up, or did the command I ran do that? I don't know. So we have a Tailwind config. This is just React and Vue. I think honestly it's gonna be like exactly the same, except we'll just do .svelte instead. So in the content here, Svelte files, JS files, TS files. I mean, we're not gonna have any JSX or TSX. Should be it. And it actually is gonna be source index.html, I believe. This one. Okay. And then the base CSS. Has it brought in the Tailwind stuff yet? ESLint Airbnb. Yeah, we're not gonna set up ESLint. I want to just get this going. No, I think we need to do it in here. This. And does this load the styles? Yeah, so this is loading the styles. It loads the manifest, the icon. I'm gonna get rid of these PWA element things. I'm gonna call this IRL control. We are gonna use TypeScript. That's the plan anyways. So we're gonna delete that JS file. We're just gonna have an index.ts. Well, honestly, I might go generate a Svelte app with Vite just to see what their initial setup is. Yeah, that's probably the case, Daddy Superman. Like, because it is like all community and like the core team and Evan U. For sure. And then now, Svelte kit has the backing of Vercel, which has a really good marketing team. So that's a thing. Um, wow. The course command isn't working? What other commands are there? No command is working. Yeah, none of the commands are working. Give me a second. Oh, Streamlabs. Oh, Streamlabs. Cloudbot is just turned off. That's ridiculous. Why would they do that? Everything's gonna be okay. There we go. And they just add weird characters at the beginning. So, great. Perfect. I do have my own bot. Their bot is just nice for like easy to add text commands. Okay. I think we have Tailwind now. So now we need to do this in our Tailwind config. I mean, I think I can do this, right? Maybe not. Konsta UI uses the system font for iOS, and then Roboto font for the material design theme. So we want to add Roboto in our CSS, but instead of the Google font, I'm going to use that. What's it called? Font source. Yeah, font source. We can just go install, or Font Bunny. Font Bunny would allow us to pull it in remotely. I think we're just gonna let's just grab Roboto from here, because we can install it. So we can see that they're bringing in Roboto, all this stuff. Yeah, just a lot of experience, dumb or Dumby. I mean, I don't like calling you dumb, Mr. D, Miss Person D. I've just done it a lot. I think that's the honestly that is a lot of what programming today and like building websites today is. It's just assembling all these various frameworks that like do all of the other stuff for you. But okay. We want do we just add the whole thing and then it just works? Not import, install. Okay, so now that we have it, I think in our index here, we'll import it, and then let's use it. Okay, so now we need to create a Svelte component, but we don't have a Svelte app, so I want to see what does a Svelte app look like when you generate it with Vite. So source and then main. Honestly, I would probably just copy all of this. So main.ts creates an app. We technically want all of these dependencies. So let's install those. Let's see what we already have. And are those, yeah, those are all dev dependencies. So we don't need, Wait, this is using Vite version 2.9.13. We're gonna upgrade. That's way too old. And then Svelte check, all of that other stuff. That's just what the that's just what the Capacitor app generated with. We should be able to use the latest one. Like, it has no bearing on Capacitor at all. So that should be fine. And then we want these scripts. Yeah, I mean, easy. Easy. And then apparently we want I mean, honestly, there might have been like a capacitor generate with all of this stuff, but I guess I'm not too worried. We'll just manually create all of these things. Beat-env.d.ts. And then we've got our main. And then we need an app.svelte. And I guess in the app.svelte, that's where we can do this. What's up, Waleed? Welcome in. Okay. Okay. We'll need to go install all our dependencies, and we should be good from there. This needs to bring in main.ts instead. And then this is mounting it on a div with ID app. So we need to make sure that we have a div ID app. Ionic uses Capacitor under the hood. Ionic itself is mainly the component framework. All right, let's install dependencies. We'll have to tell Vite that the index.html is in the source and not in the root. It doesn't have to be. Let's just move it here. And so now this will do source/that. And then it'll bring in source. Actually, we don't even need to bring in the CSS here because we can import it in the main file. So the main file also imports CSS/styles.css. Yeah. Easy. Let's try to start it up. Could not auto-determine entry point from rollup options or HTML files. Actually, let's double check our Vite config. We need all of this stuff. It should just default to putting it in dist. Do I need to specify all this? And then why would it go up a directory? It just should go. Honestly, I think that's probably all we need. That's probably all we need. There's probably, honestly, there was probably a better way to do this. But I'm just copying pasting everything from a default app here. Yeah, so we're missing all of that config. So I'm gonna copy paste all this. And then we need the Svelte config. There's definitely a better way. There's definitely a better way. And I guess this doesn't even have a public directory. I guess it could. All right, let's try again. Great. I do not have Svelte.js Vite plugin Svelte. Dev Dreams, thank you for the prime. Welcome in. All right, let's double check our config from the top because this is actually really messy. The fact that I've had to copy paste everything. All right, let's start here. Our Vite config. Our Vite config is basic. Both those things I just copied over. tsconfig, tsconfig.node, svelte config. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically I'm more of a. I don't know if Jedis wear black. I'm more of a Sith than a Jedi, I guess. Honestly, let me remove the package lock, and then reinstall everything because some of the stuff was older dependencies. Okay, index.html at the root. Typo and import for styles. Where? Where? What's up, Lakey? Welcome in. Style, not styles. Oh, you're right. Cool. And then this is complaining because that's null. Why is it complaining? Expected 0 arguments, but got 1. Let's reload the window. Okay. Not good. Build to resolve entry for package Svelte.js Vite plugin Svelte. The package may have incorrect main module export specified in the package.json. No known conditions for specifier Svelte plugin Svelte. All right. Where are we referencing that? It's used here with the Vite preprocess, and it's used here. I reloaded the window because I guess it also could have been any of my other plugins. Type module in the package.json. Could be. That's probably it. All right, let's see what their package.json looks like. Type module, and then there is no main. Okay, good call, Ubi. Let's get rid of main. Type module. Easy. Okay, well, new error. Failed to load the post-CSS config. Module is not defined in the ES module scope. The file is being treated as an ES module because it has a JS file extension. Okay. Green error, red error. Yes. New error, which is good. What if I did CJS for common JS? And then all of these need to be common JS because they are using, except for this one, then this one would be MJS. That's the answer. Ha Huzzah! Okay. Whoa, we got it. We got a Konsta UI app. That's crazy that it's working. No errors in the console. Okay. And then if we refresh our Android emulator, here we go. Nice. Web page not available. Because the port is different now because we're using the default Vite port. Nice, nice. So in my capacitor config, we need to do 50, 51, 5473. What is it? 5173. And then there's a command we need to run, copy. That'll copy the settings over. So when I refresh, it'll use the latest port. Nice. And it automatically has light and dark mode. You can see here that it's light mode, but when it loads in the web browser, it's actually in dark mode. Here comes my app. Nice. Nice. Honestly, let's go change our settings here. To make it dark mode. Dark theme. Nice. Cool. Cool. Look at me, I'm a mobile app developer. Oh, nice, Finder the Icewing. Did your exam go good? Go well? Okay, everybody. We've done it. We have integrated Tailwind, Konsta UI, and Svelte to create a capacitor app. Now we just build the app. At this point, we just start writing Svelte. And so I talked about it earlier. Like one of the reasons I like hybrid mobile is now I don't have to do anything special. Literally at this point, it's just a Svelte app. So we just start writing Svelte code in here, and we can just start reading the docs. Fluffenstein, thank you for the 7 months. Pog. We can start reading the docs on Konsta UI. So in the app's root element, we can tell it that, so because this is running on Android, I want to do material design, not iOS design. So I don't know if, yeah, so right now the theme is iOS. Instead, I want it to be Android? Material. Oh, honestly, I like the iOS look better. It would be really weird to have an app with an iOS theme running on Android. Oh well, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. And cool. Now we need a backend. So this is our mobile app. I want to show Twitch chat messages in the mobile app. I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll just add like a tab bar, and we'll have like a this thing. We'll have one of these. For now, there's just going to be one option, which is Twitch chat. Parent? What do you mean? Like this. No labels. So we need to bring in tab bar. Let's actually just copy all of this. I think. And then we can try to import everything else. And at this point, we can start to get modular with it. So I can like create a components directory, and then we create like a tab bar Svelte file. So I don't want it to interfere with the name of the tab bar itself. So let's call this app tab bar. And I do believe we can start doing like lang equals ts on our script tag here. Labels and icons? Okay. Can this auto import? It can. Ooh, look at that. Okay. So if is tab bar icons. We're not gonna have state for that. It's literally just gonna be tab bar icons. So we can get rid of that. And then I guess we do need active tab. What's up, Soshki? Welcome in. It's like drinking Pepsi from a Coca-Cola glass. You mean if we were to have the iOS themes on running on Android? All right. Active. I don't want a label. I just want it to be icons. And I only want one for now. So we're just going to do this. Where do these icons come from? It's super interesting how they have two different slots. So like, what is the icon you should use on iOS versus what should you use on Material? That's fascinating. I'm not, like I said, I'm not building this cross-platform. It's going to be Android only, but I think that means we're going to need to go grab some Material icons. And Soj King, thank you for the Prime. Appreciate that. Okay. Do they have icons in Konsta UI? Icon. Or do I need to literally grab like a component library? So they have this icon component, but I think they're just using it to wrap an icon. So yeah, I think they are just SVG files. Okay. At this point, then we could probably find a Svelte icon library. We've tried to find one in the past. We looked at tabular icons. We also could just put some SVGs. Let's just put in SVG. Feather Icons has free SVG icons. We want this. All right. No build errors. Oh, well, we're not actually loading. We're not even loading it in. So back over here on app, we need to add an app tab bar. Okay. Attributes need to be, oh, because I put the class on there. We can get rid of that. Look at that. we have a chat tab, so that's all we want. So later on, we'll probably have like I don't know, like settings or whatever else. Because eventually this. So right now, the MVP for today is to just get Twitch chat messages in here, but later on, I also want to have like OBS control and like overlay control and stuff like that. So those will be other icons. So yeah, Framework 7 is like a whole different thing. It's like very similar to Ionic, but it's separate. And so I think they have like a icon library you could use. Yeah, and what's up, fun OpenGL coder, Jeff? Yeah, no hiking today. We're making an app to use that for the next time I go out. Okay. So I think we're good. So at this point, I actually want a backend that is listening for Twitch chats and then emitting them over WebSockets. And so for that, we're going to build a backend with Feathers.js, which gives us real time. And so basically, what the backend will do is when it starts up, it'll connect to Twitch chat, listen for messages, and then I'll do something like store the most recent 100 messages in a Mongo database or something like that. So that way, if the chat client ever disconnects, whenever it reconnects, the backend can send it to any messages that it missed. So now we build an API. Let's do a let's build this thing. I can't remember. I think the quick start has us install all our dependencies separately, but I believe there is a CLI. How do we get the CLI? npm create this, and then give it a name. We'll use TypeScript. IRL control API. Sure, we'll use Koa. We want REST and real time. Use npm. Generate end-to-end typed client. Sure. We'll use typebox. I want to put this in a MongoDB. That seems fine. I don't know if I have MongoDB running locally, but if I don't, I'll start it up. Yeah, so MongoDB is running locally, so this actually should be able to connect to it. Oh, that's good to know, America 2050. Let me check it out then. You add it. It's actually just a font icon, which is pretty cool. Cool. If we need more icons, we'll look into that. All right, so now we have an API. Can we start it up? Cool. All right, so this is our Feathers backend. It's running there. Let's open it up with VS Code and see what we need to do. This is my first Feathers v5 app. I've built a lot of stuff with Feathers v4, but I'm new to Feathers v5. So we got our entry point. Channels is what we're going to use for real time. And there are no services right now. I want to add auth. And we'll add like login with Twitch. Let's see. I do believe there is, yeah, so there's a command, I think, to just add auth. So Feathers generate authentication. I don't want email and password. For now, I'm just going to choose GitHub, but I'm going to rip out GitHub and replace it with Twitch because it uses Grant behind the scenes, which supports many different OAuth services. So I'm going to choose GitHub, but then we're going to rip it out and replace it with Twitch. What is your user authentication service name? MongoDB, typebox. Here we go. So that generates the service, the auth service, and also the user service. So now we have this service with all of this stuff. So if you've never seen Feathers.js before, basically it generates all of your CRUD routes automatically for you. So all we had to say is we want a service called users, and now we have create, read, update, delete on users. And that is also used by the authentication service. So here, it's registering GitHub as the OAuth strategy. I'll have to see how it's configured so that way I can rip this out and replace it with Twitch. Let's see where in the code base is GitHub. So right there. Welcome in, Raiders. Glad to see you. Yeah, I am standing and I am typing. The bald-bearded builder. It's been a long time. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. I'll show you. I'm standing in a room right now. This is me, with a big blue screen behind me. But yeah, thanks for that raid. We're working on a mobile app. So far, this is what we got. It's a shell of an app. It's running on Android. It's good stuff. Now we're working on a backend that we just set up with feathers. And I think this is basically, yeah, so instead of GitHub, I'll call this Twitch. We'll have to create an OAuth key and secret for Twitch. But then over here, we'll call this Twitch 2. And then the user service, instead of a GitHub ID, we want a Twitch ID. Okay, is that all it's gonna take to get Twitch OAuth working? That would be fascinating. May the fourth live long and prosper with you. Thanks, Qubit. Okay, at this point, I think I need to go grab a Twitch client ID and secret to use for OAuth, and then we'll go from there. So give me one moment. If this works, it would actually be pretty fascinating, right? it just works. Let's see. Leak incoming? No, no way. No way. Okay, so in the setup here, I need to specify the callback URL. So the callback URL is going to be my backend. Right now we're in development, so I'm going to use localhost. If you look in the Feathers docs, they mention that it's going to be host, OAuth, provider, callback. So this should actually be OAuth, Twitch, callback. Should be anyways. It'll break if we got it wrong. So let's create this. This will give us a client ID and secret, and then we can use that. And what's up, Bob? Welcome in. 3030 is the back end. Yeah, our front end is Vite, which is 5473, 5173 or something like that. But our back end is 3030. Okay, at this point, I actually also need to set up .env on my back end. I don't think it's set up by default. Let me see. Yeah, it's not. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. So this is my client ID. This is okay to leak. You just don't want to leak your secret. But I could technically just paste my client ID and secret right in here. but I don't want to do that because this is the source code. This is the source code. So localhost will work when I'm in development. So basically, and actually, I'm gonna have to tweak it slightly because if we're doing an OAuth flow in a mobile app, it's gonna need the IP of the machine it's running on, not localhost. So I'll probably have to update it to be my local IP for the callback. But we're gonna need to work all of that out. Before that, I want to set up an environment variable so that way I can actually just do this Twitch client ID and Twitch client secret, and that way these don't get committed to my source code. So here in the backend, we're gonna install .env, and then this is gonna get both of these, and actually we're gonna pull everything else into here as well. It is a lightsaber, yeah. Actually, and it's well, you can't see it because it's blue. I forgot. Because like technically, I should probably have a red lightsaber if I'm wearing a black cloak like this. Okay, what was I doing? Yeah, so we also want the client secret, and then all of these actually I actually want to pull into my environment variable as well. So like the auth secret. And then MongoDB URL. Like that. Seems fine. We'll update the other stuff later. So I'm going to throw my client ID and secret in here. And then before I do that, basically when the app starts up, it needs to make sure that all of those environment variables get loaded. So the configuration validator. Is that used here? Yeah, I think basically we need to just make sure that .env is loaded before line 18, because line 18 is the thing that like reads in these config.json files. So right here, I need to bring in .env config. I mean, can I just do this? And then right here, .env.config like that. Okay, so that should bring in our environment variables. And then now I'll specify my client ID and secret right here. No, this is not Nest.js. This is Feathers.js. Okay. It's in my .env. Let's actually see what happens. Let's start it up and then try logging in. Invalid URL. It did not like our MongoDB URL. MongoDB URL. They might have changed how you bring in environment variables in here, because it used to be if it was detected as an environment variable, it would just load it, but maybe not. Give me a second. Let me make sure I called it the right thing in my .env. MongoDB URL. All right, we need to go to the docs at this point. Yeah, so the issue is this is a JSON file, so I can't do well, let me close my .env before I show my screen. I can't do process.env here. They might have a way of loading envs, so let's look in the Feathers docs. Configuration? Individual environment variables can be used through custom environment variables. I see. So, do I understand? Do I get it? I don't know if I understand. Add. Oh, before the import of configuration. Possibly. Maybe that's the fix? Yeah, I already installed .env. And may the fourth be with you as well, Dana Chu. So yeah, I already installed it, but this is saying we need to do it before we even bring in configuration. No. Nope. Oh, okay. Replaces all environment variables from .env in config custom environment variables. Oh, fascinating. Okay, so yeah, this is not how I'm used to it working. Let's make an app. Nice shark turnip. Yeah, okay, so I did this wrong because now the secret actually just gets replaced. And so what I need to do now is in custom environment variables, I actually have to specify that. And so that'll bring it in from the .env. And then similarly, I do this in custom environment variables here. So basically this file tells it which of these I want to replace with an environment variable. Seems weird, but I guess it's fine. I guess you could technically specify defaults inside of here. This is the winner. Nice. Okay, so the app is up and going. Let's see what happens if I go to /OAuth/Twitch. There's no way it just works. Okay, clicking authorize will allow IRL control to authorize. That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. So now we have an access token, and we actually should have a user in the database too. Yeah, no way. No way. So do I have a MongoDB viewer? There's got to be somebody in the chat that has MongoDB commands memorized. How do I Mongo shell? How do I access the MongoD? Okay. Now I want to cheat sheet. Do they have a MongoDB cheat sheet? Mongo shell. Okay. Switch database. So what is our database called? I forgot. Oh, I think it's just called API. So we say use API. All right. So now we're at the API DB. Show collections. We should see users. We do. And then show users. None. Oh no, those are native MongoDB users. How do I select from a collection? Oh, db.users.find. Okay, so there's a user in there, but their Twitch ID is null. I think we actually need to customize the callback to make sure that we are storing the correct info in the DB. So it's in there, but it didn't actually store the correct things. So we've got ourselves an OAuth strategy. I think potentially we like override. We need to override the OAuth strategy. We'll have to go look at the docs. Or actually, no. I guess it would be a user insert. But no. But there's going to be a callback. Let's look at the docs. Let's look at the docs. I could install a UI app. I just didn't. I didn't feel like it. It was fun. It was fun to pretend like to be a hacker for a split second, right? Running commands. Okay. Thank you all for the golf claps. Okay. Now, let's read the docs on authentication. To see if we can customize it. Often needs to be customized. Yeah, so there's like a function we can override called get entity data, and that's the one where we'll specify Twitch ID by being like profile.id. Here we go. So we need to specify a Twitch strategy, and then we will do the Twitch strategy here instead of the OAuth strategy. Should be able to import OAuth profile. And then I can say probably like Twitch ID is like profile.id. Include the email from the GitHub profile when creating or updating a user that logged in with GitHub. So in this case, we're including the Twitch ID. And then why is this complaining? An argument for existing entity was not provided. No. Params? I'm gonna log the profile here. Hopefully this does it. So let's try again. Let's try logging in again. And then let's see if that's all we needed. Okay, so there was some stuff in there. We should have another user in the DB now. I guess no, we don't. So profile is an object that has a data property. And then the first entry is that. All right, I'm gonna try this one more time. I'm gonna hide my screen though, because I don't know what's gonna be in that object. Yeah, it could potentially have an auth token. The thing is, I haven't given it any. There are no scopes, so like technically this auth user doesn't have access to anything. But still, I don't want to leak. I don't want to leak anything. Cool. No, that's it. It's just basically the API response from Twitch. So we literally get back my user info, nothing private. But I think what that means is now ID right here should be user.id. And then that Twitch ID should be what gets inserted into the database. Try again. There we go. That's what I want to see. I guess the other thing is we can add more info onto the user as well. So like you probably username. I think we want username as well. Is it user.login? And then we can update our user schema to have a username property. Is it optional? So this is all feather schema stuff. So this defines the schema that's used for like inserting and validating. But you can see down here, we'll also need to specify it, I think here, to make sure that those properties come back when we query for them. So user query, yeah, and I think that this is the user query. So if I query for a user, I want to automatically get back its username. Like that. So now if we log in again, it should store the username as well. This is amazing. This is amazing. The other thing is, we get back at some point in the flow, we're also going to get a token. And so we potentially could store that token in the refresh token in our database. So that way, we can do things on behalf of the user, like chat commands and stuff like that. So, yeah, display name. I'm not opposed to it. Tokens in the database, is that a good idea? It depends. I may not. The thing is, I don't know if I want to put it on the user store or like in the user collection. Maybe I do though. Like I said, this app is just for me. It might even just be running locally on my computer. I might not even deploy this thing. I guess I would need to deploy it, but still, I would be the only one that access it. Let's further customize this, because get entity data has username, display name, and Twitch ID here. So yeah, again, if we log in one more time, now in the database, we should have the display name too. Cool. I am curious though, so we're getting back this access token. I think the access token is specific to my Feathers app. I don't think this access token is like a Twitch thing, but let's just look inside of it real quick. Let's see. Yeah. So this token that it's redirecting back is a token to authorize me with the API that I'm talking to, and this is the data that's inside of it. So like this audience is coming from the configuration that right now just has your domain. So this token that we're getting back doesn't have the auth stuff inside of it. I think there's another function we could potentially override, like one of these I'm pretty sure is going to have access to the token, like the auth token and the refresh token. Wait, where are the any types? What do you mean? Where are the any types? But let's look back at the docs. Get redirect. If you need to speak to backend to speak to the database to get tokens, you might as well get it from the auth again. What do you mean by that, late key? Get current entity, create entity, update entity, authenticate. Authentication and params. Create access tokens, but that's not with the service itself. I kind of want to look at some of my old code. I don't know if it's changed since Feathers v4. Actually, this one doesn't have auth. I built a Feathers service a long time ago. I think it was maybe the Q&A service, or the Q&A backend. Get profile, get entity. So I wasn't doing anything with the auth tokens. Maybe we override the authentication or the authenticate function and see what happens. So right now I'm in backend code. So this this is this is backend node code with feathers, and then the front end is actually we're using Capacitor, which is not React Native. No worries, Bram. Thanks for dropping in. With the authentication and the original params. And then we return that result. But it's possible that this result has the tokens inside of it. Yeah, so Capacitor is typically used with Ionic, but it's for hybrid mobile apps. All right, let's see what this gives us back. It doesn't give us anything. It just says that it's authenticating with Twitch. Might have to just do some Googling. Why hybrid? I'm building an app just for me, and it's going to run on Android, and I don't know Kotlin. I know web, so I'm going to use Capacitor. That's why. And if I wanted to, I could eventually make it work on iOS too. And I know web dev. I don't know Flutter. React Native requires a lot of custom stuff as well. The thing is, so this whole OAuth flow gets some kind of token. So OAuth access token. Let's see if there's anything online on how do we get that. Oh, authentication is possibly thing that has the tokens inside of it. All right, I'm gonna hide my screen again. Yes. So this gives us the access token and the refresh token. Cool. Um, and it expires. It gives us the expiration date too. Okay. Now, how do I get that into my database? Or at least return it to the client so the client can use it? No, my backend needs to make requests on behalf of the user. So so yeah, we looked at that earlier. It's not the same token. So that token that we see in the URL is for this API. It's basically just for this API. The access token that we get back from Twitch would let us do things with the Twitch API. And so that's the one that I want to store in my database so that way I can call one of my API endpoints and it can then call the Twitch API and do something on behalf of the user that logged in. All right. Can you tell me what order these functions get called in? Because it looks like authenticate. Oh. Hmm. It's interesting that there's no examples of this in the Feathers docs. Because basically, like if in the get entity data, which is what we overrode earlier, inside of that we want the access token. I kind of want to do some source code diving because basically what I want to figure out is what order do these get called in? Because basically what I need, the two things that I need are inside of this variable here, and it calls them in a specific order. Like it calls authenticate, and then authenticate in turn calls get entity data. But I think I basically want to maybe I need to override get profile because then I can include or maybe attach something to it. Let's see. All right, let's see. Because data might have that authentication stuff inside of it. And if it does, well, you can see my access token, but that's okay because there's no scopes, so you can't actually do anything with that access token. You can't even send messages or anything. And I guess just to be safe, I can revoke it. No scope equals all the scopes. No, not true. Not true at all. You would see a list of everything that it's trying to get access to. Okay. Let's try again. Yeah, so I'll show you here. So basically, I went into my Twitch like profile and I revoked the authorization. You can see right now it says clicking authorize will allow this application is requesting your public Twitch account information. So with that token, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't send a message. You couldn't do anything. What we potentially will need to do is add scopes, like send messages in the Twitch chat and moderate and stuff like that. And then we're gonna see a list of those when we do it. But for now, it's just this. All right, let me see what we got back here. Yes, awesome. Okay. Um, yeah. And Mr. Zerny, thank you for the tier one. It's not a weird body. It's a lightsaber. That's funny. Yeah, my microphone actually has a blue thing on it, so it's invisible. Uh, all right, I'll show my screen soon. I just want to get all of this access token out of the way without um, leaking anything. All right. We've no talking, no screen share. Yeah, I was doing stuff that I didn't want to show my screen for. Um, but now I will show you, and I'll show you everything I coded while my screen was hidden. And Zabeth, thank you for that resub. Well, thank you. Says love the look. Temporarily a co-working stream. Yeah, so I'm dealing with sensitive backend stuff right now, so that's why my screen was hidden. But I'll show you what I did. So, my user schema has been updated to now also store the access token and the refresh token. And we updated the get profile function so that it actually returns the access tokens, and then we insert those tokens into the database. And so now if the user hits one of my backend endpoints and needs to do something like perform a mod action, we're going to use that access token that's actually stored in the database. Now, there's other ways to go about this. It probably would make sense to put this in a separate collection, but I don't want to do that. But what's nice is because this property is not, well, I'll refresh it if it fails. If the request fails, then refresh the token. Easy. I guess I technically could store the expiration date too. The thing is, Twitch tokens are like really long lived. Twitch auth tokens are. But yeah, you can see here this user data schema. This is basically how we define what data should be returned in like an API response. So in this case, it's not including the token. So if we were to request all users from our system, it would not include their auth tokens by default. And we can test that out. Give me a second. Cool. So right now, Feathers basically gives you all of these endpoints for free. And you can see right now, if I try to get users, it says not authenticated. But what I can do is I can add my authentication header. And then bearer, and then the actual token that it created for me here. Or not. Authentication? Authenticate? What's the header? Let's look back at the feather stocks. Yeah. No bearer? Possibly. They should tell us. I thought it needed bearer. Let's see. No. If we look in the guide, I think they. Well, no, because they're using the client SDK, which just adds it automatically after you do the auth. Logging in? Yeah, it should be this. So, authorization. Oh, that's why. It's not authentication, it's authorization. It's been too long. There we go. And I leaked my access token and refresh token again. So I thought by specifying the user data schema here. So this user query. I thought by default it's not going to include the properties that I don't include, because you can see here that I'm not including tokens. Maybe I need to specify this in the query resolver or something like that. Let's see. And Diali Code, welcome in. You have a question about OBS and MacBook Pro. What's your question? I'll do my best to answer it if I can. So I use Windows for streaming, but I can try and help. Yeah, I mean OBS is doing a lot whenever you're streaming because it's transcoding and compositing and transcoding. So I mean, I imagine it's going to use a lot of power. So I thought there was a way to hide a property. Oh, I was like, what is it showing me here? Feathers.js v5 hide property. Maybe like, I know they've shown this before where like if you have a user and that user has a password property, the password property is actually hidden. Hide. Protecting fields. Oh, okay, here's what I want. So the resolve the user data resolver for tokens should return undefined. So the tokens will never be visible. Let's see if that fixes it. That doesn't fix it. Maybe it's a different resolver. Oh, I see, the external resolver. This one. Now the tokens are hidden. Great. So I'm not accidentally leaking those out. And then late key mentioned earlier We should probably store the expiration date. Let's just go ahead and do that. We can store it in the tokens. So we have expiration time. This will be just a timestamp like this. So when we are putting the user in, expiration time is going to be some maths to take that number that we got back. Give me a second. According to, is that true? Can you show me some documentation on that? Raw.expires in. I mean, that was my plan, but Late Key said I should do otherwise. And it is expires in minutes, hours. Yeah, okay, honestly, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. So basically, we store the tokens, and then before making a request, we validate that the token is valid, and if it's not valid, we refresh it. Ah. So although you could use expires in to proactively get a new token, you're discouraged from using this approach. Instead, Twitch recommends that apps reactively respond to HTTP status code 401. So that's fascinating. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, we can log into the app now. The backend should have a like a messages service, and it should connect to the Twitch chat and listen for Twitch chats and then emit them. So let's do that. We're going to create a new service. For messages. Okay. Now you could try to design this to be used by like multiple channels. I guess technically I'm probably going to use it for both Coding Garden and W3CJ. So there are going to be at least 2 different Twitch channels that it's listening for messages on. So I'm trying to think, do we just call this messages? And then there's like a property on every message that specifies the channel name or the channel ID. I think I'll just do that. It'll just be one collection with all of the messages. That's fine. Messages. Well, I think we name it singular. Let's actually look at this. Look at how look at how they do it. No, they pluralize. They pluralize the service name. So we'll pluralize it. It requires authentication. We're gonna put it in MongoDB. We'll use typebox. Okay. So this generated a new service for us. We will need to think about all the properties that we want to store coming from Twitch. But I think we are just going to put the channel ID in there, and then when you're listening for messages, you'll be listening for a specific channel ID that's going into the store here. Okay. I was gonna say, do we start listening for Twitch chats here? I think we just do this completely separately. So we'll have a completely different thing, just like our Twitch chat lib, and then it will just have like an init function. That receives the app, which is of type application. Because then this like listens for Twitch chat, but then we can do like app.services or app.service. Yeah, service messages, and then we can like insert into that thing whenever new Twitch chats come in. So that's what we'll do. So it's gonna be like our little Twitch chat lib, and then over here, we'll do this. So we configure everything, and then we'll do app.configure Twitch chat. And then we'll import Twitch chat in. Default export. Cool. So MongoDB is not going to be on the mobile device. So this backend that I'm working on is going to be hosted in the cloud, and then the mobile app is going to talk to this backend. But so the backend is the thing that talks to MongoDB. The mobile app will not talk directly to MongoDB. Yeah. For 2 channels with limited amount of it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can set up some indices on our collection to make sure that it queries by channel ID efficiently. Okay, so at this point, this little function over here gets access to the app, so it can do all the things. It gets access to like the messages service, so we can like insert new messages. Now we need to talk to Twitch chat. So we're gonna use TMI.js for that. And here we go. So we'll install it in our backend. Are the types included, Alka, or do I gotta install those separately? Separately? Okay. Did I just turn orange? My my plant light turned on. Here, the definitely typed ones. So, right, we want the types too. And Sunny, thank you for the 14 months. Didn't join in a while. Still want to support you. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. Doing all right. We're doing the thing. I'm trying to think. I think this thing will just be like ready to go, and it's almost like it needs to listen for when there should be some way to tell the API that it should start listening for a specific channel. TMI.ts. That's funny. So maybe we create a separate service for that. Like, yeah, maybe we have another service called channels, and then whenever we want to start it, that channel gets updated. So we could say something like the channels service is app.service. Like, it doesn't exist yet, so it's going to yell at us. But we could say when a new channel is created, we'll say like listen messages, or when a new channel is updated. Something like that. So for this, we'll create another service. We'll call it. Can we call it channels though? So now services you could think of like a collection of endpoints. So our messages service has a find all, create, update, and delete automatically. So yeah, now we have a channel service which we just created. Let's think about what properties those are going to have. They're going to have a channel ID, and then listening, which is just going to be a boolean. Listening or listen? Listening. And basically, if we update the a specific one to set listening to true, then this thing will be able to know that happened, and it will start listening. And then if we set it to false, then it'll know to stop, and it'll stop listening. Is listening? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, like this. And so now, let me make sure I do this right. So channels on updated update. Is it updated? Let's go look at the docs. So this is feathers. Events created. It's weird we don't get a type error there, but okay. So when a new channel is created, if it was created with listening true, we start listening. Patched is what we want as well. Data is any? Why don't the types flow through here? I guess you just have to specify the type. That's unfortunate.
React Roots grant.
Thank you, Macaroni. Yeah, we'll give away a free ticket to React Roots. Who in the chat wants to learn React and TypeScript from me? Because you'll get the chance right now. Type 1 in chat if you if you want to learn. Thank you, Macaroni. Yeah, that's funny, Alka. Let the types flow through you. Anybody here want to learn React and TypeScript? Also, a quick ad for my course. I launched it last week. Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll do a giveaway real quick. Me. Yes. Type !enter in the chat. You will be entered to win a free ticket to the course. It's $35. There's about 16 hours of lessons, about 16 exercises, some project requirements, and it teaches everything you need to know to get up and going with React and TypeScript. So, yeah, for a first timer, having to learn like backend Nest and TypeScript, does seem like a lot. Yeah, limits. You're the first one to enter. And thank you, Macaroni. You are too kind. we'll see how this course goes. I haven't sold a lot, and no one watches my YouTube videos anymore, so I may not ever make another course. All right, you have 10 seconds left to enter, and then we'll give it away. Here we go. You have a 1 in 29 chance of winning. May the odds be ever in your favor. And the winner is Terex. Is it Terex? Yeah, Terex. Congrats, Terex. I will DM you a code that you can use. Let's see. Following since May of 2020. Wow. Wow. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'll I need to make a note of that. Yeah, of course, of course. Let me write this down. I've never worked with Hadoop Parse. Cool. Keep an eye on your Twitch whispers after the stream is over, and we'll send you a code that you can use. Cool. Cool. Turn on the saber. It's blue, so you can't see. Oh, thanks, Mr. Cerny. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much I don't really know what to think of it. I mean, I think it's a rough time to be launching a course because there are less and less people that are wanting to learn to code because of the impending AI apocalypse. Also, my course is unlike most courses in that it's not just follow along and build a thing with me. It's like I am trying to give you the fundamental skills required so that you can just go off and do whatever you want. People aren't used to that. They don't really know how how to take that. I feel like. Also, it actually requires the students to do work on their own, which is also very different than a lot of online courses. Yeah, it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Okay. I digress. We now, when a channel gets created, where does this type come from? This type got defined over here in the schema. Channels is the type. I guess that's why we potentially would have called it singular. So we import the channels type, which is this. We'll say if data dot is listening, then we'll say listen messages data. Else stop listen messages data. Something like this. And then we'll put this into a function on create or patch. So when you create or patch a channel, we're going to either start listening or stop listening. Okay. And now we need a function listen messages that takes in the channels, or the channel technically. And this is where we can do the TMI stuff. So here, I guess we'll do it anonymously. We can do it anonymously because we are just, in this case, listening for messages. If we want to send messages, that would require the user's OAuth token. Data.channel ID. You're right. Yeah, because at this point, we have two different functions to either start or stop. You're totally right. And then now the channel ID is just a string. Um, cool. What's up, Delta Time? Welcome in. So in listen messages is where we wanna do this. But we'll also need some sort of manager here to make sure that we don't listen more than once. We'll use import. And so, are you still here, Alka? can you pass in a channel ID, or do you have to have the channel name? If it has to be the channel name, then it has to be the name? Okay, we're just gonna rename everything to channel name. Um, cool. And then we'll just rename this to name. When did I stop using semicolons? I'm using the default prettier settings right now, and I didn't set up a prettier config. Actually, here we go. I didn't know that there was one in here. Easy. Look at me. I use semicolons now. All right. So when we listen to the messages, good. We kind of need to store this client. We need to have something like a listening is a map of channel name to any for now while I figure out what the type is. I get it. Listening clients. That's what this is going to be. And so this is going to be a client which comes from TMI. Like that. So you can follow again now that there are semicolons. Great. Great. And so now that we have a client that is listening, we'll do listening clients.add or set name and client. And then when we do stop listening, we'll say we'll grab the client, which will be listening clients.get with that name. And if there was a client, we say client.close disconnect, like that. That also returns a promise. We don't really need to await it. And then also in listen messages, we can also say like if there's already a client. So if listening clients has this one, don't listen again. Right? I probably need more logic than this, because if like this client disconnects for some reason, doesn't it like auto reconnect? What could go wrong? We're literally just passing in the channel name. It's not authed. Yeah. Okay, disconnect the client and then remove it too. Yeah, good call, Maya phone. That's what we're doing now. So remove it from the map after we disconnect. What could go wrong? I think it seems fine. So basically, this thing is just sitting here waiting. And anytime a new channel gets created, if it was created with the is listening true, then it's going to start listening for Twitch chats. Or if it's updated to go from is listening false to true, then it'll start listening. And for now, we're just going to log out the messages. But what we'll do next is this is where we'll actually potentially put them into the database. But for now, that should be it. So if we start the app back up, let me make sure. I'm not logging any stuff. It's just gonna work. It's just gonna work. Okay, so it's now listening, but now what we need to do is we'll need to make a post request to /channels here. So we're gonna make a post request to localhost 3030/channels. We need to include the authorization. And the body of the request, we'll say name coding garden. And is listening is true. Go. Okay, and so now, if we did everything right, it should actually be listening in the background. And so any chat message should get logged. It does not get logged. Do we need to do something to make sure make sure that it actually is listening for the socket message or is like emitting socket messages? You're not in my logs. Something like this. So like to publish all service events to all authenticated users, use app.channel authenticated. Okay. Maybe there's something I need to do in the service definition to turn on events. Let's look at the docs. API. Events. Oh, what I just did was I sent coding garden is listening true. So right now it should be logging it. So right here. I mean, first of all, let's see if these functions actually are even running. So channels on created. Created or patched. And we'll pass in the data. I guess what we should also do is like when the app spins up, we should grab all of the existing channels in the DB and start listening if listening is true. But we'll do that in a second. So to do start listening on boot. Okay, that function is not running at all. So the events are not getting emitted. I'm potentially listening to the wrong event. All right. Messages on created. Channels on created. And then what is channels? Channels is app.service channels. Is any of this running? Yeah, so that's this grabs the service itself, so that way we can use it down here. Twitch chat init. We're gonna patch channels to set is listening true. Oh, there we go. Created or patched. Why didn't it work the first time? Maybe I didn't restart the app. But yeah, this now sees all of the Twitch messages. Easy. Easy. Hi. Okay. That's really weird that it didn't do it the first time, but that's okay. What I want to do now is on boot, I can do something like all channels are going to be channels.find like this, and then I think I can tell it to not paginate, just give me everything. False. And so now this should just be an array of channels. Yeah, so now let's just, for each of them, listen if listening is true. So for each channel, if channel.isListening is true, then we'll say listen messages for channel.name, like that. And so now when the app spins up, anything in the database that is listening is set to true, it's going to now start listening for them. Let's just log here as well. So we'll say listening, start listen, and then we'll specify the name. And so now when the app spins up, it should start listening to Coding Garden. Awesome. And then stop listening, we'll log here as well. So start listen, great. But now if I actually patch it to say is listening false, it stopped listening. And now that it's not listening, thank you, Steven. We don't see any messages, but then if I patch it to say is listening true, now it should be listening, and now we see the messages. Okay, it's happening, everybody. This is the thing that we want. And so now, when we get a new message, we should put it into our database. So let me actually rename this to channels service, and then we'll create another one for messages service. And so now when a new message comes in, we'll say messages service.create. We pass in an object that has all of the stuff. So we probably want message to be on there. We'll want, I mean, we really just want everything. We want the channel, and we want all of the tags too. That's it, that's all. I guess, are there types for tags? So basically I decided, so in basically what I'm thinking is in the mobile app, when I'm ready to like start listening for new chat messages, then I'll like click a button to start. That tells the backend, hey, we should start listening for messages. And then when I'm done streaming, I can stop it. And that way it's not running 24/7. Yeah, exactly, codec. So this is our backend service that's going to be hosting all of those messages. Okay, here we go. We got lots of info. We want username. I mean, really, just go to this type. Well, honestly, honestly, we're just gonna log all the tags. No, I mean we are, but we're also just gonna put everything in there. Yeah, because that gives us the message color, the emotes. We basically want all of it. We want all of it. So let's update the type. So now the messages service has a message, which is a string, and then it has a channel, which is a string, and then it has tags, which is an object. With, can I tell it that it's the any type? Yeah. I'll parse the messages myself because basically all of this is going to get pushed. These are now getting pushed into the database. And then on the client side, we'll be listening for any time a new message gets created and we'll display it in the UI. That's it. That's all it takes. I think we need to update this to be like message and channel. And this one too. The create schema needs to accept tags. Data schema. Oh, not that. Messages. Like that. Cool. So it's listening to Coding Garden, and now any message we send should get put into the database. So we go into Mongo shell, we'll say use API, and then we'll say db.messages.find. There they are. So here's the hi message from Coding Garden. Oh no, the channel is hashtag Coding Garden. The display name is Terex. And then this one is me. And you can see it has all the info that we could possibly want. Like badges. So basically the front end is going to get access to this data and then it'll be able to display it. Awesome. Yes. Awesome. All right. I think channel, I actually want to replace the hashtag there. Like that. May the fourth be with you, Antoine. There we go. So now the channel doesn't have that. Can I just do delete everything? Remove. Delete many. Yeah, okay, so I wiped the database, so now things will be more consistent because the channel will have the name. Awesome. Okay, so our backend is mostly done. I mean, There's probably some more other things that I want to that I'll add to it, but I have to go soon. So what I want to do now is just set up the client and then just spit out these messages on the client side. So let's do it now. Not emotes are not today, not today. Um, but here in our little Svelte app, we can now connect to our Feathers backend. Um, and I guess technically our Feathers app generates a client that we can embed. So let's do this. Like if we look in the API, so I'm using WebSockets already. So the backend is with Feathers, so it's already ready to go with WebSockets. What are we doing? There's a build task to generate a client for this backend. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, bundle client. So this will create the client bundle, and then I can install that as a dependency in my front end code, and then it'll be fully typed. It'll know about all the services and everything else. So npm run bundle client. Okay, so now we have a client. And I think I can actually, so if the backend is running, then it'll just serve it up. So like localhost 3030 slash that. Yeah, okay. And I think there's a way to do it to install a dependency. Like that. It did something. It did something. So now my app has, yeah, so it has a dependency called API that like is pointed to that file, but now we should be able to use it. So like in the I need to go. So uh, um we'll import something from API. Uh API create client. And then create client accepts an object. I should just go read the docs, but it is cool that it actually generated these types for us. Let's go look at the docs. Client, Socket.io client. Um, is this right? Yeah, I want the Feathers client. So we need all of these. No, so I'm creating a backend that takes in the Twitch chat and then emits it over WebSockets. Wait, what? I just don't know how to use the generated client or like the typed client. See the CLI guide to be determined. um, have they not added the docs on how to connect to a typed client? Because I guess like technically this works. Like at this point, I now have a client connected to like the backend here, like this. Um, but I don't want that. I want to do this. I want to do this. Can you show me what do I need to do? Um, oh, maybe I can do connection this. Two objects. So connection, comma, authentication options. Okay. So um oh, it likes that. And it complains about that. Um isn't there an on mount from Svelte? Create client connection. Yeah. Okay, we figured it out. We figured it out. Thank you, Links. Yeah, this was it. I was passing in an object. I just want so when this mounts, let's actually do this. We'll say client.authenticate. And then the strategy is Twitch. And so this is where I'm probably not going to finish this today. But basically when the app loads, it actually should redirect to try to log the user in. So here we go. On mount is for SvelteKit. Is there not a built-in Svelte thing for that? Cannot access property create client. API is undefined. Same origin policy disallows this. Okay, so now my backend needs to update its origin, or needs to allow another the other origin. 5437. What is 5137? Yeah, backend restarts. What's up, Artix? Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. 5173. We'll get there. Is there a cores setup? There is. Um, can you not have more than one origin? I haven't done web scraping stuff in a long time. I'm actually just gonna call this origin singular for now. Um, yeah, allow start. Yeah, you're probably right. That would work too. But I don't. Honestly, yeah, I think I would need to do that anyways because eventually, this is gonna be running inside of a mobile app. Actually, once it's running in the mobile app, it might not. It won't even be. It won't even have to adhere to cores. All right, but for now, this is what we'll do. Come on. See if they have anything on cores in here. Or I guess no. By default, the origin is star. By default, it's star. You know what? Is this not exposed on the local IP address? Um, because it's gonna do app.listen somewhere. Um, it listens on a port. Um, let me make sure that I can access this via IP address. I can. And then in the front end here, let's make sure that this is correct. Oh, then I don't want HTTP, do I? I want WebSocket. Like that. There's no way. So it's trying to pull this. What does this respond with? That. And there's no access control allow origin star in the response header. Where did it say localhost? Um, I think I have to also tell it to not it's a version issue. I think I can tell it to um, just use WebSockets. Because right now it's trying to upgrade from HTTP. I think there's a configuration that says just use WebSockets. Um, like uh, here. Header location, feathers, socket, IO only, no upgrade. Where have I done this before? Maybe over here? This transports WebSocket. Yeah, thank you, Links. You're always like slightly, yeah, like right when I find it, you find it too. But yeah, this is we want to tell it to not do that. I just want to do this. Only use WebSockets. This is the wrong spot. It's here. There we go. All right. Strategy not allowed in auth strategies. Seems fine. Maybe I want OAuth? Actually, I guess it's not a strategy. I think it's literally like redirect to I have to like redirect the window, I think. Okay, no access token found it. Okay, we can fake it. We can basically just give it the token and then it'll be authed. So let's just do that for now because the whole actually getting a token into the app itself is going to be tricky. What does it need to be? Local storage. Feathers JWT. Oh, we're authenticated. No, it's okay to leak this one. This is the one for my app. It's not the tokens for Twitch. Okay, so we've hard coded it. We've hard coded it. Let's just hard code it for now. So local storage, feathers, JWT equals this. And then I don't even have to do on mount. Does authenticate return a promise? It does. So we'll just say, we'll make a little iffy. And then we'll say client dot services client dot service messages. Give me all of them. And we can say the messages is a message array. You can do it without set item. Set item probably works better with TypeScript, but this works too. Okay. How do I get that message type? Service types? Export messages. So now I have the type. We're almost there. We're almost there. I'm gonna show the messages in the UI, and then I gotta call it for today. So we can say messages equals that. And then can we tell it to not paginate? So just give me all the messages in the database. Cool. And so now, for every message, message dot tags dot username. message. Doesn't exist on that type. That's fine. That's fine. We'll update that type later. How do I do a TS ignore right here? Doesn't matter. Each only iterates over array-like objects. Did I do messages wrong? Yeah, because this is I told it not to paginate. That's okay. We did it. We did it. We'll put each one inside of a div, and then maybe do we need this block thing? I guess we're using Tailwind, so gotta do something like this. It's like it removed the display block for whatever reason. Right? What's happening here? We want each message to be in a div, that's why. Man. Okay, awesome. So the things are there, and then now when we receive a new message, push it into the array. Simple as. So we'll say client dot service messages on created, and then we'll say messages dot push message. So now anytime a new message gets created, we're gonna show it in the UI. This should be it. It's not it. This is Svelte. There we go. We've done it. So now though we should be able to see it in the I cry every time. We should be able to see it in the Android emulator. Ideally, let's see. Wait, why do we have two of them running? So in Svelte, you are allowed to mutate data. The only issue is Svelte has no way of knowing that you pushed into an array or removed from an array. So by putting the assignment here, it knows that it should check for an update. But we've done it. Look at this. We got a mobile app showing Twitch chat. So that's exciting. Now, from here, we make it look nice. Like we add like the colors, and we parse emotes, and we make this like a scrollable container. Like overflow y auto. Regular emojis work. Yeah. And also, I think we need to pass in like limit, because right now you can see it's only grabbing like the last 10 messages. There is a way. Alco with the big test. Wait. Why are these old messages? Oh, because they're from the beginning. Okay, we need to look at the query syntax for services, service find. because we can tell it to order by date in reverse. Get find pagination. What? So there's not a Twitch endpoint. I mean, I think there actually there might be some endpoint that has like emote information, but basically every message that comes over IRC has the emote ID if there was a Twitch emote in the message. I'll have to look at these settings later. I have to go for now, but this is good. This is good. Cool. Yeah, those are the endpoints for like the global emotes. Next time we'll make it look good, and we'll get the OAuth flow working. Because this time I hard coded my user ID right here. But next time we'll basically have the OAuth flow, so that way you have to log in with Twitch, gets redirected back, and then also we'll work on the pagination, because right now you can see like whenever the page loads, it's the first 10 messages in the database, so we want it to be like the 10 most recent. Thank you, Lynx. Lynx is king or queen of documentation. Here it is. Okay, I always forget the syntax. Okay, so we have query. It looks perfect. Thanks, Limos. So now we can do this, and then like if I say like limit 100, and then sort by. Oh, we don't have a created at. We have like a Twitch. A TMI timestamp. That's fine. By doing this, we should get more messages by default. Yeah, so now when the page loads, we get the last 100 messages. TMI sent TS. I don't even know if I could query by a nested property, though. Can I do something like tags dot I don't think this is gonna work. ID, message, or channel. Wait, what? Message, channel. Oh, I can't. So yeah, I can't sort by tags. I'll have to add it later. Oh, well, I don't think is it using, what do you call it? Is it using Mongoose? I don't think it's using Mongoose. I think it's using the direct MongoDB driver. Yeah, see, it's using MongoDB directly. Flip the rendering? I mean, there's a lot of things I need to do, but you're right. It should, well, basically we should scroll to bottom on new message add. Try to figure out where does it actually do the database stuff. Oh, here it is. db.collection messages. There's a lot of things we got to do. I'm happy with the fact that we have, and it is a lightsaber. Yeah, but I have a blue screen, so it's invisible. We got a lot done in 3 hours today, right? We set up a Capacitor app. We've got an Android emulator. It's running Konsta UI, which is a cool little UI framework, this thing. And then we got our backend going. We have Twitch OAuth. This might be the most productive Coding Garden stream ever, honestly. But we're gonna clean it up next time. We're gonna make this look real nice. We'll parse the emotes, set the user color, the OAuth flow, all that good stuff. All right, I gotta get out of here. Let's go on a raid. But I did see that message. Who was that from? From Great Man. how do you get at this level of programming? If I want to start learning how to code, is it possible to get good in 1 month? Everyone's programming journey is different. I have been programming for over 15 years. I've been programming for a very long time. So when you see me and you see how fluent I am, it's because I've just done it so much. You can definitely be productive in a month. But honestly, the thing about programming is you're always getting better and you're always learning. If you're not, I mean, technically, I guess you don't have to, but the nature of the profession and the nature of like technology is that things change and grow so quickly that as a programmer, you basically just have to constantly learn. And the aspect of that is, if I wanted to just learn to code like in a month to get something done, and then I kept working at it, like I don't know, 2-3 months from that time, you're gonna be better at coding than you were 2 or 3 months before that, and the code that you wrote was like so much worse. Like there's constant iteration essentially, and so like early on, almost everything you do just gets thrown away because you just have to get good at it. It doesn't have to get thrown away, but I don't know. You could probably build something useful in a month. Check out my YouTube channel. I have a playlist here on beginner JavaScript stuff, but if you watch this first video, it talks about the various types of programming that you could get into. And then if you do want to get into web dev, which is mostly what I do, the second video provides some resources on how you can learn for free. Yeah, all right, let's get out of here. These are the raid messages. I don't know who we're going to raid, but whoever we raid, show them lots of love. Drop a follow if you like what they're doing. And tune in tomorrow. I'll be working on a Svelte kit app, completely unrelated to this. And then also go follow my my personal channel. That's where I'm going to be doing some IRL streams on the W3CJ channel. Alrighty, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.